The Hash It Out Show is brought to you by Barreto Home Solutions, Bayou Audio and Video, Hot Works on the North Shore, JFK Martial Arts in Mandeville and Covington, Black Hawk Hauling, Lil Dizzy's Cafe, Wags Food and Culture, Moe's Pizza, The Green Law Firm, Personal Injury Attorney, Drums Earwear.
Hands up, hands up, hands up, hands up. If you winning and you don't give a fuck about a hater, tell them move. Clear my area, move. Clear my area, move. Clear my area, move. Clear my area. Cause I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning. 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 Hands up, hands up, hands up, hands up. If you winning and you don't give a fuck about a hater, tell them move. Clear my area, move. Clear my area, move. Clear my area, move. Clear my area. Cause I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning. I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning. I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning. I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning.
Sanders said, look good, play good. You feel me?
But what's on with that
Jay
shot?
Dillon, what's happening, big brother?
What's on with that game today?
With y'all game?
Yeah.
You need to tell me what's happening. You tell me what you told me last night.
It's not even gonna be close. Like I don't even know why people be hyping the game up, because like it's not gonna be no real good game for y'all to watch. It's really gonna be boring. Really finna go on 20 years with this. Like this ain't just started. Like this finna be a 20-year thing.
Hey, I like
And this is a week. Like, come on now. Like you can't give it up when you about to make 20 years. Like
I'm just
losing in the
we don't
eyeball.
got school today, man.
When we talk about football, they got standards. I stand it up here, like with everything. With us during school, with us during everything, they don't have a standard like that. And we won't keep that because our coach Coach Monica, he told us he wanted us to take one game at a time. But this game has always been a personal game for him because every year it's not about. There's always something. Hash it out. So you know, I see that he got faith in his guys, but his guys ain't messing with guys in that metairie. Sorry, they just not.
I love it.
Hands up, hands up, hands up, hands up. If you winning and you don't give a fuck about a hater, tell them move. Clear my area, move. Clear my area, move. Clear my area, move. Clear my area. Cause I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning. I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning. I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning. I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning.
Welcome to the Hash It Out Show. I'm your host from the West Bank, living that West Bank standard. JB, your sports guy. Yes, it was a great weekend. We'll get into Shaw versus Rummel in a little bit. But later on tonight, at around 8:45, we have a quarterback who plays for Notre Dame, Dylan Devezin. He's going to join us on the show to talk about his journey to Notre Dame. So we get into that a little later. I'm joined by my good friend, our co-host that you can find on CrescentCitySports.com, the one, the only, George Peppers. What's up, GP?
What's up, JB? And I take it you're a little bit happy tonight. 3 days after the fact, or 4 days after the fact, aren't you? I mean, that was an eccentric night. at Joe Zimmerman Stadium. We were tracking it from myself and PK were tracking it from St. Charles Catholic when we did St. Charles and Turlings. It was a fabulous night. And look, congratulations on winning the megaphone back. It's about doggone time, isn't it? 14 years. It was a great night for any Shaw. Look, I'm not a Shaw alumnus, but I am a proud resident of the West Bank as well. And I was pulling for you guys as well. So congrats on winning the megaphone now. Go win this week. I think y'all got West Jeff this week. Is it Higgins or West Jeff this week?
It's Bonnable. You got
Montable. Oof, rough for them anyway.
George, I kind of want to start off with the battle of the megaphone.
All right.
And as you saw in the video that played in the introduction, on the 1008 Prep TV Sports Show, two Rummel players got on there talking a lot of mess, saying it'll be a boring game, it won't be a good game, and Shaw doesn't have any standards where Rummel standards are up here. Now, me being a Shaw grad and going back to the glory days, and even from 2006, 7, 8, when Shaw went to the Dome 3 straight years, there's always been standards about Shaw athletics. And it's always been up here. But we hit a brick wall that we couldn't knock down for some years. And then last year, we knocked that brick wall down. Trash talking in sports is fine. There's nothing wrong with talking trash. But it's when you get overconfident and cocky where it becomes a problem. To sit there and say there's no standards at Shaw, well, you're wrong. Number one, you're wrong. George, I recorded that whole video, which was over 6 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And I posted it on Facebook. Little did I know that other people copied my video and sent it to coaches at Archbishop Shaw. And you know what the coaches at Archbishop Shaw did?
Played it?
Oh, did they play it?
Mm.
One coach played it on his phone. And he played it over and over. And about the third time, he said the players kind of caught on to what I was watching. And I said, yes, this is Rummel player. What y'all going to do about it? And then the coaches played it in the locker room on a big screen for everyone to see. They said when they played that, the team was more focused than ever. They went to pregame meal and they weren't even talking. They didn't even have their phones out. They were ready to get on that field and handle their business, and that is what they did. It was the best football that Shaw has played this year. Mason Wilson, the quarterback, had over 200 yards passing. Jasper Parker, 5 rushing touchdowns, 171 yards. Gavin Richard, he had a lot of catches, and he ran a touchdown in. I challenged Jaden Scott and Raymond Howard to step up as leaders for this game because it was long overdue for Shaw to win the megaphone. It was a great performance overall. The atmosphere was great. And to see Shaw have the megaphone in their hand was just something spectacular. This is a memory that us Shaw fans will not forget for a long time due to the fact that we didn't have a megaphone for 14 years. And Jaden Scott said it. He said his senior class made history.
Mm-hmm.
They are legends due to the fact that his senior class got the megaphone back. What are your thoughts?
Where do we start? First of all, you and I had some conversations. We know we always talk off air, and I remember promoting something, not really, jokingly promoting illegality, saying that if Shaw wouldn't have won last Friday, you were going to be president. You might have taken a little run with the megaphone and say, y'all not taking this megaphone back. I remember joking with you about that. And you told me, and you said, and I quote, we're going to win this megaphone game Friday night. We are going to get it. Your confidence never wavered at any point. As far as the game itself, look, Shaw finally discovered their identity. Jasper Parker was a beast. 171 and 5 touchdowns or something like that.
Yes,
Mason Wilson, north of 200 yards. A lot of motivation, a lot of purpose, and this is what Hank Tierney coach teams do when they're coached up right, when they realize potential and understand the significance. And to those that think about this week being a letdown, it may be for a little while, but come on, man. Anybody really think Bonham's going to beat y'all? No, they're not. I don't know if that's going to be a game we're picking them on. If it is, that's just going to fatten the stats. But what Rummel couldn't do Friday night was what they did do in the first 2 weeks. Now they split the first two against really good opposition, Washington and University. Those are two really good football teams, correct? I think we can agree to that.
That's correct.
Romo was able to tempo both of those games, keep those games south of 20. Uh, couldn't do it Friday night, though. They just were beat at the point of attack. Your O line won the trenches and just dominated the game. Defensively, look, there's some things you got to do defensively. I mean, Friday night was a little bit of a regression defensively. Yes, they made some plays, but overall, in the grand scheme of things, it wasn't near what they had the first 2 weeks with St. Charles in week one. How does that game look now, losing to them with what they did Friday night? And then Kincaid of Texas. That was, from all accounts, people, Shaw grads and people were like, man, they were the better team. They just didn't execute.
Right.
I think Shaw at 1-2 is on their way. Now they'll probably win this week. District's gonna probably be a walk. I mean, I don't look. You never want to make presumptions in high school football, but Shaw right now, as you look at the district ahead in a few weeks' time, who beats you? I don't see a team that can even compete, let alone beat you guys. I think Shaw may be on an 8-win roll. Excuse me, 7, because Carrico in week 10 could be a very dicey matchup. And Crow, what they did last Thursday night, thank you very much for helping me out with the win-loss record. Beating Southside in the last 13 seconds. We'll talk about all those games too. But Shaw's a team that could at worst be 7-3, undefeated in district, probably a top 8 seed in the playoffs. Well, what the heck? What bracket we're going to use? Who knows? But point being, Archbishop Shaw can position themselves well and build off this Rumble game, fatten the stats up against these other teams. Oh, here we go with the excuses. Come on now. Come on. Shaw was a better football team. They were in front all night long, and they never wavered. Congratulations to Hank Tierney, to the team, to all the alumni of Shaw. Great, great, great win. And I'm sure the post game was fun.
Post game was fun. It was fun, man. It just being out with former players, former students, talking to Coach Hank. It was fun. And I heard a couple of people from Rummel. They were upset at Shaw's celebration at the end of the game. All I can say is we didn't have a megaphone for 14 years, and we finally got it. What do you expect? The kid's going to jump up and down like crazy. It is. It's well deserved. Well deserved.
And I want to interject one thing. The first, because I was in St. Charles with VK Jones last Friday, and when that game went final, I checked my phone messages. Yes, I was on the play-by-play, and I remember telling you, take a picture of the megaphone. Sure enough, what do I see? One Jared JB Boyd, your sports guy, with said megaphone seconds after the game went final at Joe Zimmerman. And I looked at VK and said, look, this is what it's all about when you win a game like this. This is what it means.
George, I was trying to get interviews with players, and I got Coach Hank at the end, and then Chad Boyd, coaches for Shaw, he come running. He like, Jerry, here you go. And he gave it to me, and I took the picture, man. It just as a Shaw grad, just the atmosphere and the energy, especially winning it, man, was just second to none. Second to none. And then the Rummel players talking that trash on the 1008 Prep TV show, which fed more ammunition to Archbishop Shaw. And I talked to Jaden Scott, and Jaden Scott said he felt like the last two games, he felt like he wasn't the leader he was supposed to be. And he said, tonight, not only I, but we were leaders, and we got the job done. That's stepping up to the plate when your team needs you the most. Because I said Raymond Howard and Jaden Scott. I said them for a reason. Because there are about 17 seniors on that team. But if you think of any two, you think of Raymond and Jaden. And Coach Hank wouldn't have brought them to the Lieber King report to do an interview. Also, he brought those two. So that's the two you think of. And those guys did it. And DJ13, I did not shed any tears. All right. Did not shed any tears. I was happy for those players, for that school. The student section ran on the field after the game. I was just happy for all of them. Some people think like it's a megaphone. Like, what's the importance? No, y'all don't understand the importance of the Shaw Rummel rivalry, which hasn't been a rivalry at all because Rummel been winning. But then you look at that megaphone and you see how Rummel and scratched off wins on Shaw's side and everything. I'm like, this is really serious. But Shaw got the megaphone back. It's back home on the West Bank. And yes, Kenny, they needed to celebrate. Yes, this was long overdue. And it's just a great feeling. Like I say, bad things eventually come to an end, and good things eventually come to an end. And most times they meet at a certain point. And that's what happened Friday night with Shaw and Rummel. Now, George, I want to get to the other big game they also had. We get to St. Charles in a second. But I do want to talk about Warren Easton and Edna Karr, with Edna Karr defeating Warren Easton 48-13. That's 12 straight wins in a row now for Edna Karr over Warren Easton. What are your thoughts?
Whoops. I think that's the first thing for me because I was one of those, and I didn't go as far as our good friend Cole from 1008 Sports who picked Warren Easton in a blowout. I didn't go that far. I thought this was the year Warren Easton would win. And I was tracking that game. Look, play by play, you got to multitask as well.
That's right.
You do all that. It's important. I was tracking the Shaw game, and then the Karr game, and I saw VK told me 28-0. I said that's got to be a misprint. Ain't no way it's 28-0 in the first quarter. I was like, who showed up? LB Landry? Sorry, Cole, I had to say it, but I mean, Karr once again showed. I guess stealing the cheer that Roman Reigns did Austin Theory. Who's your daddy? That's pretty much what happened. Warren Easton has not figured out how to beat that team. That's a dangerous loss for Warren Easton. Think about the psyche and the long-term effects. What was the buildup all week long? All week long, what was the buildup? This is the year Warren Easton, Frederick Robinson, Greg Donaldson's coming into his own. This is the year Jerry's going to get the best of Bryce. That's all we heard. Didn't happen. So now, Warren Easton going forward, that's a dangerous precedent. But for Karr, that was an impressive effort. And I can't help but think that team, there's two teams I think that are best in the state of Louisiana. It's not who VK Jones said on the 1008 show last Friday.
Oh, God.
I mean, I love him to death. But when he said that, we're riding back from St. Charles, right? And when he made that statement, I sat in the passenger seat and I chuckled. I'm not going to lie to you. Okay. I was like, I did the Booker T thing. I was like, don't tell me he did not just say that. And he's like, I'm telling you. No. You know who the two best teams in the state of Louisiana are? Edna Karr is one. Lafayette Christian is two. Whatever order you want to put them. They are doing things that's incredible, but Karr, to dominate Easton, and the best thing that could happen to Edna Karr is a very tough game this week against St. Augustine. Don't fool yourselves, Og. Don't fool yourselves into thinking they're going to blow St. Aug out. They're not. St. Augustine, what happened last Friday, 4 trips to the red zone, that's accurate, didn't get a point. You're not going to beat nobody doing that. But for Karr, I think they're telling you guys, and JT Curtis and John Curtis, I know I picked the Patriots before the year to win that district. Edna Karr is serving notice. They're serving notice. Those receivers dominated. They did everything right defensively. The 2 touchdowns Warren Easton got were against the twos in the fourth quarter. It was 48-0 going into that fourth quarter. And I don't know, DJ. I think St. Aug's going to play way better than it did last week. And I know we're going to talk about that game tomorrow night. It's going to be one of the games we pick. You can hear that game on QuestionCitySports.com on Saturday with VK Jones on the call. I'm sure we'll be there, you and I, in some fashion.
That's right.
But look, tell me who's better than in the car, not named Lafayette Christian. I mean, Carr dominated Darren. And to say that St. Charles was better, I thought was foolish. And I wish VK would join us tonight, but he's actually speaking at St. Charles. And chances are he's probably buttering them up over there talking about, I think y'all got the best team in the state. No, he probably is. They're very good. But they're not the best team in the state. Put them against Carr. I would tell you right now, Carr is about 2 or 3 touchdowns better. On what I saw for the Friday night, if those two matched up, Carr would win big. And Carr beating Curtis, I can't wait for week 10. Man, I'm actually happy that Carr won because week 10, that is a Titanic game. And if both teams get to that game unblemished, my brother, we're in for a huge treat. And this is the come out game of all because it could be for the 1 seed in any facet of a bracket. It could be for the 1 seed, and I can't wait. I want these teams to get to 9-0. We're not supposed to root for them, but 2 teams 9-0 playing for the 1 seed, not just a district title, but the top seed in the playoffs. Yep, sign me up.
Q, you are right. Regular season does not matter when it comes to the postseason. You are correct. Now, I'm going to say this right quick because I felt Carr had an advantage in 2 places. I think Carr D-line was just too much for Warren Easton to go up against, and I thought Carr had too many weapons on offense for Warren Easton to cover. But that D-line was serious, and they caused so many turnovers. That was mainly your problem right there. And then John Johnson throwing for 6 touchdowns and running for 1, or throwing for 5 and running for 1, something like that. My goodness. So my theory was correct. You couldn't stop their D-line, number 1, and you couldn't stop their weapons. I said that. And what else does Warren Easton now have to play for? If they can't go to the playoffs, what else do they have to play for now? Because like I said, this game here was their state championship game. To finally beat Edna Carr, who you haven't beaten in 11 tries. And guess what? Once again, you don't even come close. So what's the psyche of the team now? Are you still motivated to play for the rest of the season? Or you're not? That's a task Coach Jerry Phillips got to do. Can he keep them motivated to play for the rest of the season? Because now, they're not going to the playoffs. So what's there to really play for? You playing for pride? Okay, cool. Perseverance, not going to quit. You're going to keep going? No problem. That's great. And I would love that. But you just lost to your biggest rival again for the 12th straight time, and all have been under Coach Jerry Phillips. He cannot beat them. So let's ask this question. Why is it that Warren Easton cannot beat Edna Carr? What is the reason? Is it coaching? A lot of people saying it's coaching. Is it the players, the talent that Edna Carr has? What is it that is preventing Warren Easton from beating Edna Carr? This is 12 straight times that they have lost to Edna Carr. Right, it's not a rivalry anymore. It's not. And a lot of people are saying that Bryce Brown does have a better coaching staff than what Jerry Phillips has. But Jerry Phillips has been to the Dome 3 times. He's lost to Carr by 8 points in the Dome once. He lost to him by 1 point in the Dome once. He lost to Westgate by 1 point. So he's been there. I wish I could give you a clear answer to why they can't beat them. I wish I could.
I'll give it to you.
You give it to me then. Let's do it.
I think it's mental. A lot
Mental.
of times it's not just talent and coaching. Sometimes when you haven't done something in a long while and something adverse happens early, it snowballs. And I warned everybody about that. I warned you guys about that. I said the one thing that can turn this game into an unexpected wipeout was what? If Carr got a fast lead. They did. And Warren Easton said, uh-oh. In other words, uh-oh, meaning like, damn it, here we go again. We haven't beat these people since 2015. 8 years. 12 times they played. A couple of times, like you said, for the title. And there have been a couple of skull draggings in that mix too. Friday night notwithstanding. So for anybody to tell me Warren Easton is still one of the top teams of the state, no, they're not. Because that pedigree tells me they're not. Their pedigree tells me they're not. They can get you to a certain place, but when the lights are the brightest, they fail, and they fail miserably. The Westgate game 2 years ago, you mentioned that in the dome. That was a game that, quite honestly, they should have won. Take nothing away from
One
Westgate.
yard line. 1 yard line. 4 plays.
Yeah, and the play calling was disaster. And look, I remember we were there, and we talked about this after. It was like, why are you not eyeballing your kicker and getting that look in that game? If my kicker's telling me I got this, coach, all right, go get it. Let's go get this ring. But if he's got that scared deer in the lights look, it's like, okay, bro, we can sit down. Let's get a play. And the play calling was just horrific in that sequence. But for Friday night, you mentioned what does Warren Easton have to play for? Being an Eric grad, we do have week 5, Warren Easton at John Eric at Memphis. Man, look, I know I'll be on the call for that, and the three of us will be there together for
Yep.
that game. Um, I'm hoping John Eric found something last week that's going to turn that slow start they had. And I'm not going to. And DJ, look, I think it's mental. Look, when you understand the psyche of players, and especially kids, Jared, am I right?
Mm-hmm.
Kids,
Yes.
when something bad happens early, you've been told all week, this is the year you're going to win, and oops, they fail. Now what? And is it Carr's talent? I mean, I'll say this. I think I undersold Carr a little bit, except for the receiving core. I didn't think that defense was going to be as destructive as they were. I knew that their perimeter guys on the offense were going to be good. John Johnson, solid quarterback, but I was like, okay, now he's the dude. He's not AJ. And I was like, let him show it to me. He did. He did. And Friday was a come out game for him, and
It
he
was.
did what he had to do. That was a sign that this at the Carr team, man. I don't know how many you talk about hype and all that. Sometimes games fail to live up to the hype. When we get to week 10, if both these teams are undefeated, I could about imagine with your skill how we're gonna hype this game because it's gonna be. This is like I'm gonna tell you right now. Not really the nerves, but the butterflies are gonna be absolutely crazy, and that crowd is gonna be packed. SRO. That's your standing room only that night. But we got 6 weeks to get to that. But by then, JT probably breaks the record. They won Friday night.
Yep.
No comment on what, Q.
On what I said earlier.
See, you never tell a team they can't, because that's the wrong message you send. I see DJ's comment there. I hate that ideology. It kills me that you can't. Don't tell somebody they can't, because they could turn around and say we will.
It's gonna happen one day. They're gonna.
Okay,
The
when
streak gonna break one day. But right
it
now
is
they are unable to do it.
until they get stronger mentally, they're not going to do it. Don't play them. If I mean, just don't go out there. I mean, I'm not saying quit. I don't mean it that way. What I mean is you this year is a little bit different for Warren Easton because they've got to fight the LHSAA. Uh, with what's going on. If they are going to pull any kind of an appeal to try to get into the state playoffs, you know what? Don't even. I'm not saying don't bother, but and the Carr sitting in there, you're not beating that team, and you're not beating John Curtis. You can't beat Carr, but what do I know? I mean, I'm just a sports guy. just being called out on socials today, and I need to ask you about that when we get done. 1 day for 8 years. It might be 1 day for 9 years, 10 years, 11 years. I mean, streaks do end, Jared, but until Warren Easton shows me, and they haven't, the streak's going to stick around for a little bit.
I recorded this game,
Mm-hmm.
and when I turned it on, who is Warren Easton's best offensive player?
Fred,
Fred Robinson. That's correct.
right?
Now, I saw him play Carr last year, and Fred had over 150 yards pretty much every game except one, and that was against Carr. He did not have 100 yards.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Fred got 10 yards this game, but what I'm going to say is this. I don't think they tried to get Fred the ball early enough. If you look at the start of that game, there was Greg throwing the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Try to establish your best player at first. Fred.
That's coaching, though.
That is good. Yeah.
Has to be.
Yeah, definitely. Your best player is Fred. Give him the ball. If the running game ain't working, okay, we're adjusting. Let's run. But, man, you were trying to throw the ball on Carr. You got a deep pass, but then that D-line just murdered you the rest of the game. You weren't trying to run with him. Nothing at all. Your best player, you got to get him established, especially a running back. You got it. Don't work. That's all it is. So I was kind of shocked with that. Fred didn't get 10 yards this game, bro. I remember him saying at one time he had -2 yards. -2.
Wow.
And he barely touched the ball.
Mm.
So
Your View did that game, right?
who did?
Your View. I think, was
Your
it
View
their
did the
broadcast?
game. Yep.
Okay.
Your View did the game. They got punched him out early and never responded. You know, the Mike Tyson saying, yeah, they sure did. And then on K. Rob's Instagram page, he has a video of Wallace Foster. And what does Wallace Foster do before every game? He talks his trash to the other team. It's just what he does. It's part of the game. But I think when you lost 11 times in a row, I don't think there's much trash you can say to the other team. Like, Rummel talked their trash. We beat them, but, hey, they won 13 straight times.
Yep.
They can talk it. You lost to them 11 times in a row. What are you telling them anything for? There's nothing you could tell them people. And guess what? There's nothing you can say for another year. Nothing you can say for another year. That's his game, talking trash. That's his game.
Mm-hmm.
I think you talked to the wrong team. I think any other team, you could get away with that. But that team over there on General Maya in Algiers, I don't think, no, not at all.
They could go to Morel Middle now.
Oh,
I'm sorry. I'm just goofing around. I can't help it. Look, I'm just being a goof. And then look, they need to right now, DJ, on the honesty. Just to be honest, they need to chill. And to all you Warren Easton believers, look, I didn't run a lot. I said nothing. All I said was this. I thought this was the team to do it. And if this wasn't the team, Jared, who's gonna be the team? They had a collection, but it is. Well, I'm not lying, Kenny. I mean, call me a liar, brother. You can't. But if this wasn't the team, JB, with Frederick Robinson, your best weapon, you yourself just said you know what it is? It's coaching. Why? Because you're not doing stick to the basics, run your guy. And if Carr stops him, okay, let's adjust accordingly. But at that point, you put the ball in Greg Donaldson's hands, and he stunk. Plain and simple, he flat stunk.
He had a bad game.
Exactly. And of all games to have a bad game was that one where the spotlight was biggest. And in the car, you know what, Bryce Brown, congratulations, bro. Y'all got a fabulous football team, but we knew that going in.
It's part of the game, Q. It's part of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Wide receivers, football players talk trash. It is.
Exactly. And Q, Bernard Causey talked a lot of noise before they played Terrebonne 2 weeks ago. He backed it up.
TJ, I'm going to tell you this. I didn't pick them to win. I picked in the car. But a lot of people, they thought this was the most talented, Warren Easton team ever. They're motivated than ever because they can't go to the playoffs. This is their year. That's mainly what people said. I didn't pick them because I didn't think they could beat them. Like I said, too many weapons from the cover. The D-line, to me, was just, we're going to be more physical than the offensive line for Warren Easton. Warren Easton got Jalen Chapman, who's a great lineman. I just think that D-line was too much, and you saw it happen. They couldn't block the D-line. Not at all. 2018 was the best Eastern team that you've seen. Chase, was that the team with Lance LeJohn or the team after Lance LeJohn? Because to me, to this day, I will say this. If Lance LeJohn does not get hurt, Warren Easton wins that championship in the Dome. I will stick by that to the day I die. So while he's about to answer that for me, George, you were at Turley's Catholic with Lance. Okay, I agree with you, Chase. I agree. George, you was at the Turley's Catholic, St. Charles Catholic game. Give us your thoughts about that game.
I came away impressed with what St. Charles did offensively. Brady St. Pierre did very well in that game. They were very balanced offensively and did a lot of great things. Their defense, look, Turley's Catholic can score, and you were never going to really put the mute button on that team. But Preston Welch looked extremely ordinary. He was sailing passes. St. Charles's defense was getting in him, getting into a lot of pressure, and Preston was underthrowing, overthrowing. His accuracy was nowhere to be found. And crazy thing was, Turlings had no turnovers before that game.
So they
Friday
Karr,
night.
DJ. So they Karr. John Johnson started too. Go ahead, John. George.
You're good. But I came away impressed with St. Charles, not VK impressed. George Peppers impressed. I still think St. Charles is a great team. I believe that and look, this week it's an interesting matchup against the De La Salle team that's got to find themselves. They lost a tough game at St. Paul. Got waxed by Holy Cross 2 weeks ago. This is a team it's a character game. I was talking to a friend of mine today, and he's closely knitted with De La Salle. He's telling me, he goes, man, this is gonna be a tough spot. I said it should be, but you're gonna find out a lot about your team this week. Turlings, I don't really think any less of. I feel like it's a team that can compete for a state title. St. Charles, though, in division, well, I keep saying divisions because I want 22's format. I don't want that trash we had 2 years ago.
Right.
But if we go with the 22 format, St. Charles and D3, they got to be they've got to be the favorite. I think they are. And Wayne Stein, I tell you, in the post game, he did a lot of happy dancing because I think this is the game he had circled from last year. Remember,
they lost last year.
Aiden Arthurman got hurt in that game, and Brady St. Pierre got thrust into the spotlight in that game. Turlings just made a couple of more plays in that game, winning it by 6. I think St. Charles had it on their mind Friday night, and they dominated it in the second half. I mean, it was 24-14 at halftime, and they checked out in the second half.
Wayne Stein is one of the best coaches in this state when it comes to making adjustments, period. He's coming, Luis. He's coming. Dill is coming. He's coming, I promise you. We'll have Dylan on the show in a little bit. He's one of the best coaches in making adjustments. And we've seen this plenty of times. Like I said, Lutcher 2 years, last year and this year. The state championship game, Archbishop Shaw this year. And then to be in a close game in the first half with Turlings Catholic, to make these adjustments and to win these ball games. Coach Charpentier said it himself. We got out-coached by St. Charles Catholic. And this is what Wayne Stein does. All right, what's up, Coach Fig? Hey, Coach Fig, what's happening? And that's what Wayne Stein does. And it's phenomenal. And the fact that he and his team still doesn't get the type of credit that they deserve, the type of respect that they should be getting. I mean, man, the job he has done since taking over is phenomenal. I mean, have you ever seen a coach? What is this, Wayne Stein, third or fourth year being a head coach of the football team, win titles just like that, and consistently right now, back to back? And if he wins a three-peat, what is there to say? What is there to say? You got to give the man credit. A 49-20 beatdown of Turling's Catholic that all changed in the second half of a football game.
Yep.
It's just amazing what he has done. Now, I want to say this. Our other co-host, VK Jones, thinks St. Charles Catholic is the best team in the state of Louisiana. He thinks that. And I will strongly disagree with my good friend over there. Strongly.
Make that
one of
two
the
of
better
us.
teams in the state? Yes. Yes, without a doubt. Without a doubt. The best, we got to put them up against Edna Carr, John Curtis. We got to put them up against Warren Easton, Ruston, Lafayette Christian, St.
That's
Thomas
right.
More. Kenny, I will not disagree with you on that. They don't have a lot of talent. They are one of the best coach teams with the least talent. I will agree with you on that. What about you, George? Do you agree with that?
I agree. That is a very straight and blunt assessment. And I mentioned to VK because we took this ride home after we got done, on 1008. And I told him, I said, do you honestly think St. Charles is better than Carr? He goes, they're better than Lafayette Christian. I was like, that was 2 years ago.
Right.
That was 2 years ago, my brother. Lafayette Christian didn't have Jawan Johnson starting. Jawan Johnson's the best player in the state. There's no doubt. Um, I can make that argument, DJ. I think I would. Um, Not having seen it, and look, we get to see Lafayette Christian here in a month. We're going to see them at Westgate, and that's going to be a titanic football game. Can't wait to get to that game. But I mean, this is why we do this because of debates, the great debate. I know, and I want to deviate, but I saw something yesterday that I think is the best line of the year. I don't know if you saw First Take yesterday. They would, of course, Cowboy fans are chirping 2-0, but Shannon Sharp said Zach Wilson in regards to his performance Sunday. He said he couldn't play dead in a horror movie. That was the best line I've heard, and look, I just hope we can come up with something that good. But and I know we got a guest coming up here.
Oh yeah.
But Jawan in 150, it was the state champion. Oh, so what are we saying? That was 2 years ago, Kenny. I think he's better than that guy now.
What are we saying? What we're saying is he has a chance to break Brock Berlin's record of most yards.
What does he need? About 2,000? Not 2,000. Oh, I saw
he's about 3,000 something yards short. So
I mean, with the way with the way Lafayette Christian plays, they play a tempo offense. They play fast. They got a lot of speed on the outside. They can get you with the big play in a lot of games. And look, this is the same Lafayette Christian that dropped 62 at Acadiana in week 1. Yeah. Who does that?
Jawan Johnson.
Well, I mean, obviously, but I'm saying, who does that? Maybe I'm being a little facetious when I say that, but come on, that dude is special. And that's a guy I can't wait to see.
Coach Fig, yes. Preston Welch at Turling's Catholic is he's a bad dude, without a doubt. We will not disagree with you on that. But with saying that, I'm going to bring in our guest for today. This guy played for the St. Augustine Purple Knights, and now it's a quarterback for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, Devezin. Dylan, how you doing?
Man, I'm doing great. It's a pleasure to be on today.
Man, we want to thank you for joining us. We appreciate you for taking time out your schedule for joining us. Let's get right into it. Tell about your journey from St. Augustine to Notre Dame.
Oh, it was a long one. It's probably a year-plus process trying to join the program here. So my senior year was like a roller coaster season. We had a hurricane come in and snatch 3 games from us. I was injured, out with a concussion. We had a rough start. And then we kind of get on a roll. Last game, Baton Rouge Catholic, I think the offense had maybe like 550 total yards. A lot of that through the air. But honestly, after my senior season, I thought football was kind of like over. First sign of day kind of came and went. No, they were like, wait around. Coaches might reach out for the second sign of day. That day came. I think we might have signed, 3 guys that day, 4 guys. And like, I remember the coach from Belhaven, he kind of came, the head coach kind of came and visited me. And I remember talking to him like, hey, I have this academic scholarship from Notre Dame. Like, if I get accepted, like I'm going, like college football might not be a thing for me. So he was like, I remember him telling me specifically, he was like, son, if you want to play college football, come to our school. You're not going to get that opportunity. And that kind of like struck something in me. So from that day, maybe like a week or something passes, I get accepted into Notre Dame. I come out here on an academic visit. I fall in love with campus. I'm like, this is where I'm going. I'm dead set. And then I reached out to some coaches here. Dave Poloquin is like the walk-on guy here. So I sent him my film, got in touch with him, and just like kept at it. But when I got here in the fall, man, I thought football was done. Like they hadn't, the football team hadn't said anything yet. Like I was getting no responses. So I just worked out, and I got lucky enough to come here. And this was up until last year, we were the only university in the country with contact intramural. So I got blessed to be able to just stay around a game. In that sense, it was almost like playing JV football. I mean, it was fun, but man, just going out there and being able to compete was fun. I kind of like put my head down and went to work. Like all fall, just working out, and it was killing me sitting in the stands, just watching. And then spring comes around, we have a guy transfer out, we have a guy medically retire, and they need a 5th quarterback to help out in practice. I go in not expecting much, and then coach calls me over to hold, and I start holding, and that's kind of been my role since I've joined the team. Oh. Actually, it's kind of breaking up. Oh, man. Let me try to. Oh.
All right, we're back. All right,
yeah.
All
right. Dylan, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, good. We're back. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. Little technical difficulties. We're good, though. When you got to fall camp, how did you approach it?
Going into fall camp, I honestly didn't know what to expect. Like I didn't see much of the practice field, honestly, even in the spring. But I went in. We're 4 quarterbacks deep right now. We obviously have our top guy, and then we got 2 guys on scholarship ahead of me. So, you know, reps are limited if you're not the starter, especially in camp when it's grind mode. The season's around the corner. So I kind of just went in and I wanted to like learn as much of the game as possible. So really like mental reps, and obviously when I get thrown in the fire, just take full advantage of it.
You talked about taking advantage of something. You saw an opportunity to get on the field by being the holder for the field goal kicker.
Yeah.
Like, what in your mind says, I got to get on the field, but whatever it may be, I got to touch that field? What was going through your mind?
Really just like selflessness. Like I love to compete, man. Just as any guy does at this level, you know, it can get stressful at times, but the competitive spirit is what keeps you going. Man, I saw the opportunity, I jumped at it, and I kind of just like put my head down and worked. Honestly, like that became one of my main priorities. And like any way I can contribute to the team, I just try to go in there and do that for the guys.
I admire this perseverance that you've shown to wanting to play football. To hey, I'm a selfless player. I'll do anything just to get on the field. Perseverance of not quitting to achieving goals, which you have done. Where did you get that type of mentality from, if you can tell us?
Man, it dates back. Honestly, it's funny Coach Fig is on here. So, like, my sophomore year of high school, I was in shambles, man. I wasn't good at football. I was bouncing between playing quarterback, tight end, and then, like, he pulled me to the side, and he made me run scout team quarterback for Curtis Week. And, you know, Curtis Week was a big week. I'm running read option. I'm getting hit. And I'm like, I'm kind of good at controlling the huddle a little bit. And, you know, I just kind of put my head down and kept working. And like, I had faith that one day my opportunity was going to come. And then my senior year came around, and even though it was a rough season, I feel like I took full advantage of that opportunity. And man, just faith in God, man, just knowing that, like, I'm down but never out. Like, even though like, going 1,000 miles away from home, leaving the South, it was hard. But, like, knowing that the grass is going to be greener on the other side, but it just comes with a little work. That's all it was.
What was it like seeing snow?
It's fun for like the first 5 minutes. It's like, oh man, this is like the movies. And then you got to walk to class in it. You got to go to practice in it at 6 a.m. You got to live. It's fun after the first 5 minutes, honestly.
What is it like in the quarterback room, especially with Sam Hartman?
It's interesting. It's been fun. He's in like his 6th year playing football. He just turned, I think, 23, 24.
Mm-hmm.
And like the next closest guy in age of him is 19. So it's like having a pro in the room, and we all just kind of like look up and watch him work. And man, his work ethic, I think, is rubbed off on all of us in some way, shape, or form. Even in like limited interactions that we may have. Like, he's giving us game. He's helping us learn. And like during camp, it was just the 4 of us all day, every day in the office watching film. So just the ability to learn from him, it's been amazing. But also the camaraderie that's in the group. There's like everybody understands their role and everybody plays it to the best of their ability.
I remember Sam Hartman's first start when he was at Wake Forest. It was right here at Tulane.
Yeah.
I forget the quarterback name, Jamie something, who eventually transferred to Georgia, but he got injured. And Sam Hartman, first start, he beat Tulane, and I was there, and I was like, "This guy is special.
Yeah.
He's very good." Marcus Freeman is your head coach.
Yeah.
Tell us something about Marcus Freeman.
Man, he's a player's coach. He's down to earth. Makes it a point to go talk to every guy during warm-ups, whether it's just a quick hey or conversation coaching you up. I wasn't here under Brian Kelly, but from the things I've heard from the guys who were, it's definitely a shift. And the culture was already strong, and it's only gotten a lot closer. Like, it's a special group to be a part of, especially with him heading the front.
Before I pass it to George Peppers to ask you some questions, I got one more question. Big game this Saturday night. You guys are hosting Ohio State.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about this game? I know the main thought is you're going to win, but other thoughts about it?
I mean, yeah, it's Ohio State week. It's a pretty big week. Got college game day and stuff. But we're approaching it how we approach every other week. Trying to stay as even keeled and ignore the noise. Coach always preaches like maximizing our full potential. And we feel like if we go out there and maximize our full potential every week, there's no way we can lose. Yeah.
Dylan, first of all, thank you for taking the time to joining us tonight on the Hash It Out show. We thank you. We appreciate it. My first question, though, and Jared took a couple of mine, but I got a few more. It's all good. This is your 2nd year at Notre Dame, right?
Yes, I'm a sophomore.
Okay. You lost Tommy Rees in the offseason, your offensive coordinator who went to Alabama. How has that transition been for this team? And it seems like offensively, I mean, you guys are potent, but it feels like there's a little bit more. And with Sam Hartman in the room, obviously, that's to be said. But how has the transition been from Rees to your new OC?
I wasn't playing under Coach Rees, so I don't really know too much about how things were in the building before that. But I know that since Sam has headed the offense as the quarterback and since Coach Parker has taken over, that the guys have gelled. I know we implemented some things in the offseason, like, route sessions on Fridays and Saturdays. That kind of helped this receiving core get going. And I think it's showed up on Saturdays with the stats these guys put up.
And how much? Let's transition to your high school days. St. Aug, well, I mean, do you still follow that team and their progress, even though you're a thousand
Definitely.
plus miles away?
Yeah, definitely. I remember last year, I'm on the phone with guys that I played with, Jave and Cam. We checking in every Friday, trying to see what's up. I'm calling Coach Nick after the game. Like I'm very still much locked in and tuned in. And I definitely follow St. Aug football still, no matter how far away I am.
Well, they'll be playing at the same time you go. I think your game on this Saturday is at night, correct? I know game day is
Yeah.
going to be at South Bend. What's the atmosphere? What is this week like to this point? It's Ohio State week. Obviously, there's a lot of juice on campus, buzz and whatnot. Ohio State is coming in. They're not, to me, to my eyes, Ohio State doesn't feel like that elite team that used to murder people a few years ago. They're still plenty good. I think you
Mhm.
guys have elevated your game. I really feel like you'll have a big, big shot, a big opportunity here. Uh, is my analysis. What do you feel about this game, and talk about the enthusiasm level to this game, the build up?
Yeah, like I said before, like it's a big week, and we'd be remiss not to notice that this is the best opponent we've played so far. But we
Hmm.
try to respect every opponent the same and prepare the same. Obviously they're a storied program, but we feel like we are too. And Saturday we're gonna put our best out there. They're gonna put their best out there, and we'll see where the chips fall.
What would it mean to Notre Dame and to the team if you pull this win off against a team like an Ohio State with the pedigree and the run they had last year, eyeballing Georgia, taking them to the end in the semifinal? What would it mean? What would this game mean to you guys to win it? Uh, And as far as the rest of your season, you still have USC on there with Caleb Williams. That's going to be another great challenge. But this game itself, win it. What does it mean for Notre Dame going forward to you?
I mean, it would be a big win for our school, just like every win is to us. We kind of put the focus on ourselves every week. No matter who the opponent is, we know we have some tougher games with Ohio State and USC, but always we try to put the emphasis on us and being the best we can. And we feel like we're always the best team on Saturday when we display our best and when our great players play great.
I love your attitude, man. I gotta say, it's a very refreshing attitude to have. You feel like a throwback kind of person, as far as attitude and your demeanor. And I'm a fan. Wish you the best. But my last question to you before I flip it back to Jaron. Um, when you look at the remainder of the schedule, you guys have been really, really good. And look, I know maybe I'm going to get players speak or semi coach speak, but look, you can't help but look. And you see USC on that schedule and Caleb Williams. Obviously, you've watched him play. What do you think of him as a quarterback? And you know what? Scratch that. How do you pattern your game? How do you mold your game as far as a quarterback?
Well, I try to take bits and pieces from the guys that I'm around, and obviously from the quarterbacks I watch on Saturdays and Sundays. But the biggest key for me, obviously, since jumping to the college game, is the mental.
Hmm.
These X's and O's are not like your high school X's and O's. Defenses get a lot more complicated, playbooks get a lot longer, and plays are a lot wordier. So I just try to take everything from who I can. We're blessed to have a great quarterback coach and Coach Gino. And he had a storied career at Cincinnati. So I try to take as much as he can pour into me, honestly.
I got two questions left for you before we get you out of here. What was it like playing for Nick Foster at St. Augustine?
Shoot, man, that's one of the best coaches I've ever had the chance to be around. Like my senior year, man, I ran into adversity in life. Like I lost my older brother 2 weeks, like before the season was set to start. And he like threw football completely out the window and took me under his wing as a little brother or son figure. I remember like the day after, man, it was his birthday, and he called me. He was like, "Man, just come eat, like come get away from all that." So our relationship is far beyond football, but even football, man, if he give a pregame speech, make him run through a brick wall. Honestly, to this day, man, he asked something of me. He got it. It was an honor playing under Coach Nick.
Just going watch St. Aug practice this year. He has the love, admiration, and respect from those players. And I can tell everyone loves to play for him.
Yeah, he coached my older brother at Karr. So, like, I was familiar with who Coach Nick was, but I never, like, really got to be around him and see what type of energy he brought. But when he came to St. Aug, we were, like, in a disarray. We were all over the place. He came in there and he straightened the program out, and he really was able to get players to buy in. And I believe that if he sticks around, that players are going to buy in for years to come.
Most definitely. What is your major? What are you studying?
My major, man, I'm studying finance with a minor in real estate. I want to get into the real estate world, specifically real estate private equity. That's one of the great things about this university is the network. And it was preached to me at St. Aug to network and build your relationships. But since I've been here, that's been multiplied by 1,000,000, man.
Most definitely. Most definitely. Dylan Devezin, it was a pleasure having you on the show, but I need one favor from you.
Yeah.
Tell Coach Freeman, I know he did the pivot, but he got to come to the Hash It Out show. You tell him that.
I got you. I'll put a word in for you guys.
Appreciate it, my man. It was fun. Congratulations. Best of luck to you in school and on the football field, man. I'll be looking out for you.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Dylan.
Anytime, Dylan.
Dylan Devezin, you can tell he's a hard worker in the books and on the field. Future is very bright, like Charles Allen said. Got a lot of people on here supporting him. Those that are watching and new to the channel, please click that subscribe button to JB the Sports Guy. Before we go on commercial break, oh man, look at that! Oh my God! Oh man, when I texted him and asked him where he was when we were getting done with the interview, I didn't want to leave you out. And 30 seconds ago, he's gone, and you pop in.
Timing, baby.
Oh my gosh! I texted you. I did. I hit you. I said,
I was listening to the interview and everything. I was just coming in here. I thought y'all might have still on an interview. I had to make sure my daughter was in the bed, all this other stuff and everything, and all that. So, man, but I think y'all asked the appropriate questions. Y'all did. I think he put the story out and all that stuff. I'm also gonna do an extended story on CrescentCitySports.com about his journey. So I will do a story on it, and most likely I'll have that finished and done by next week. So big shout out to Mr. Devezin. Thank you so much for joining us on the show. I hate to miss you, man, but duty calls and everything. I was hoping I would still catch him, but I was like, oh my goodness, I just missed it. So, but it is what it is. But shout out to Dylan. Shout out to his family.
Yes.
Also, St. Augustine High School, who reached out to me and reached out to not just to me, but to us to try to put this story out there. And we really appreciate it. And shout out to his cousin, Telly, Mr. Telly Medina. He's one of the people that go to my church. He's one of the security people over there. Real good guy. That's his cousin. He told me a lot about him because what was funny, one of the public relations guys at St. Augustine is like, we had a couple of ideas for stories. And I'm like, okay. Then he told me about the Dylan, and I didn't know who he was for a second. I thought about him, I'm like, was he the starter a couple years ago? And like, oh, I know who he is now. Then I was talking to Telly the next day at church. He kind of didn't know who I was. So I told him my name. And he was like, oh, you the guy. You the guy that writes for Chris City. Oh, yeah, we need to talk. So when he gave me his information, I said, let me reach out to him. And Dylan was very gracious. We had a great conversation and everything. And talking with and big shout out to the Notre Dame media department and the athletics and media department. I mean, they got him set up right and everything. I appreciate Miss Katie. Thank you so much for working with us and stuff like that, man. I was hoping y'all asked them a little bit about the Ohio State matchup on Saturday.
We did. Yeah.
Good.
We definitely did.
Good.
So this is what we're gonna do, VK.
Okay.
Take a quick commercial break, and we come back. We want to hear your thoughts about Shaw Rummel, Warren Easton and the Karr, St. Charles Catholic, and Turlings. We want to quickly get your thoughts, and then we can hop on St. Aug Zachary, and we end the show.
Sounds good. That sounds good to me. I think I can just run to the quick while you get your commercials going.
I mean, you ain't got to tell everybody that. Just run. God.
No,
Yeah, TMI, man.
I didn't mean to do that.
TMI.
But y'all got to understand me, ladies and gentlemen, bro. I just came from a speaking engagement, and you have a kid with you.
Go. We're going to commercial break. We'll be right back, everybody.
Hands up, hands up. If you winning and you don't give a fuck about a hater, tell them move. Move, move, move. Cause I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning. 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 Hands up, hands up. If you winning and you don't give a fuck about a hater, tell them move. Move, move, move. Cause I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning. I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning. I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning. I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning.
Welcome back to the Hash It Out Show. I'm JB, your sports guy, joined by my co-host George Peppers and VK Jones. So, our game of the week, the Hash It Out Show game of the week, is the John F. Kennedy Cougars taking on the George Washington Carver Collegiate Rams. And it's been a black cloud over Carver for the past 2 weeks now. We're going to give them a spotlight, put a spotlight on these players, promote them because they need some love right now with what's going on with Coach Addison being fired, and there's not a lot of happy people with that. So we want to give Carver a lot of love this upcoming Friday night as they take on the Kennedy Cougars. Now, as we move on, VK, I want you to start with your thoughts about Archbishop Shaw defeating Archbishop Rummel 43-28 to regain the megaphone since they lost it in 2009.
I think it was a great performance by Shaw. A very, very unbelievable second half for them. Outplaying Rummel and doing what they got to do to get it done. Shaw was just a better team that night. It was just a better team and everything else. I think they took care of business. Very, very impressed of how the Shaw players took that thing very, very seriously. Very seriously.
Very seriously.
And I about to DJ 1-3. There ain't about to be no excuses tonight. I'm gonna be straight up with you on the next game we're gonna talk about. But congratulations. You're happy. I know you're a happy man, Jared. I seen the picture and everything. Congratulations to you. Congratulations to your brother Chad, the coaching staff, D'Artagnan, Doug Miller. Shout out to you, my friend. Hank Tierney. I always respected you for a long time, and you earned this thing, man. Congratulations to you. I know it's been a long time coming, and you really got Shaw in the right direction. And I could tell anything else. That was a program win.
Definitely.
For Archbishop Shaw. That was a program win.
VK, I have a question.
Yes.
I was going to ask you a question, but finish your statement. I have a question for you when you're done.
Okay, no problem. It's a program win for Archbishop Shaw. And going forward, things are looking good. The only team in that district will give them a little something will be Bell Chase. That is the only team because Coach Stephen Myers is going to have them boys ready. I'm saying that for one reason only. That Bell Chase team is not bad. They compete with you. They're gonna go with you at the end, and they got a really good running back. So I'm saying the Bell Chase Cardinals might give Shaw something. I don't think they'll win, but they'll give the Eagles some intense competition in the district, and that's about it. But then the Karen Crow game is gonna be a big game, a big time window to see what's going on. And Jasper Parker had a great ball game. I heard about Jasper Parker, New Orleans Dolphins. I said it myself after that jamboree against St. Aug. And I talked to David Kinsey Sr. I talked to a bunch of people. I said they better go. Hank's going to have to go back to what happened last season early. They're going to have to give the ball to Jasper Parker, just like they did with DK Kinsey, to set up the pass. And that's what they're doing right then. Jimbo, see what I'm talking about.
No, he
Jimbo,
doesn't.
look,
He's tripping.
I'm not. Listen. I'm not agreeing with Jimbo, but I get where he's coming from with this. But I tell you, Jasper Parker, I said it from the jump. He's got to set the tone, and he did a great job. And I think he's helping Mason Wilson out. Wilson finally having a good game. That game now is going to catapult. This Rummel win is going to catapult Shaw to another level. But I ain't gonna lie, Bell Chase is gonna give him a little something. But then Karen Crow, that's where the barometer is gonna come in, especially with playoff rankings and then some on the line in that last game.
GP, ask your question first. I got one to ask him afterwards.
Surely, and this actually is for both of you. But I want obviously, you said this was a program win, and that's an accurate statement to make. I think it's an accurate statement. Do you think it's a season defining win? Because they hadn't been able to beat Rummel in 13 years. Well, it would have been 14 had they lost this year. All right. Do you feel like going forward? Look, I see one game on the schedule that's going to be a beast game, and that's Karen Crow in Week 10. I'm not going to disrespect Bell Chase, but if Shaw shows up that the way they did Friday night against Rummel, um, I feel like this team is going to be 8-2 at the best, 7-3 at the worst. Do you think, for both of you, that Shaw turned the corner Friday night offensively? Because remember what we said. There was no definition of validity to what they were doing offensively in the first two games. Granted, it was against top tier opposition in St. Charles and Kincaid on the road. Do you guys feel like this was a season turning win? That this is going to be could be a game that can boost Shaw and move him forward? And consider Aaron Crow's going to be a big power points game. What do you feel on that, BK?
I think this was a do or die game. I think it was a do or die, and Shaw got it done. They handled their business. Season defining a little bit. It's a good start for them. The thing is, offensively, they got to stay consistent. Now, the most season defining a little bit. The more season defining will be if they dominate Bell Chase. If they dominate Bell Chase, that's definitely season defining. The most season defining if they beat Karen Crow. But Rummel was a good start. But they just got to stay consistent. That's the biggest thing they got to do. But it's a good start for the Shaw Eagles.
I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say yes. This was a defining moment. It was a statement win, because when they talk about the top three teams they played last year, in Rummel, St. Charles, Catholic, and Turlings, Shaw didn't win not a game. And here we are this year. We lost to St. Charles, but now we beat Rummel. That's a start. Megaphone hasn't been at Shaw since 2009. Add that in there. It's definitely a defining win. And I said that stadium, we got some wins, but there are 3 defining wins in that stadium only. The first one was the first district win in many years in 2021 when they defeated Holy Cross. That's one. the playoff victory last year over Livingston. That's number 2. But this one against Rummel and everything that was going on before it, with the 13, 14 years of not beating them, this tops the cake. This is the ice on the cake. This is number 1. This is the biggest win ever at that stadium right now. Bigger than the playoff win. Archbishop Shaw over Rummel is a defining moment. Now, VK, before we move on to Warren Easton and the Karr, you was on 1008 when 2 players from Rummel, who we're not going to name, did all that talking. And you know the Shaw coaches showed the Shaw players that before the game started. What were your thoughts when the Rummel players were talking all that mess at 12:45 p.m.?
I was hot. I'll tell you one thing. I was like, their confidence was way too high.
Overconfidence.
Confidence was way too high, and I was like, okay, let's see if you back it up. But the one thing I told Banks, I said, remember, y'all lose, you're gonna have to be humble, and that's what happened. They had to humble themselves. You know, that's a huge difference and a lot of times it's bulletin board material. You know what I'm saying? And people don't believe that. Sometimes you got to be careful what you say, because it could get back to people and it can just motivate them so much that, hey, they're going to handle business. The only team, there's very few teams that are talking with and be back and back it up. All I'm going to give you is a great example of somebody who talked and made a message and backed it up. And I got to go to the college ranks a little bit right quick. Colorado State. I got to give them a lot of credit. What I seen Saturday night was probably one of the biggest college games we've seen this year.
9.3 million people watched.
What? Not just the fact the people watched, but we talk about well played in itself. Colorado State, and I give Jay Novell a lot of credit. They came to play. And that's what it's all about. We've seen some old school football Saturday night. But regardless of the fact, that's a rare time when a team will talk smack and will back it up. If you back it up, it's all good. You don't, be careful, because the trap door can open up, especially for Wallace Foster, which we'll get to the thoughts of that game in a second. But regardless of the fact, too much overconfidence by the 2 guys. And then when I said on that later on that night, and I'm going to tell y'all the reason, and I know my respective co-host, I'm going to say this. I said that St. Charles Catholic is the best team in the state.
Let's wait till we get there.
We'll wait till you get there. But I'm going to explain why in a minute. But regardless of the fact, yeah, the players was a little bit too high, and they got burned at the end. You know what I'm saying? And that's just what it is. But I just hope they learn their lesson, and they take that to the rest of the season.
All right. Edna Karr defeated Warren Easton 48-13, jumped out to a 48-0 lead on them. What are your thoughts about that game?
I'm gonna be real with you on that one. Edna Karr owns them. They own Easton. They own them. That's just all it is. They own them. If Easton, the thing I was afraid of, and George was right, if Easton starts slow, and that's what happened. When you hear that Fred Robinson did not get the ball early and did not get the ball often, that's a problem. Why you don't get the ball in the best man's hands, or the best player's hands, just to see what they can do? They shut it down. Okay, we go there all day. I don't get it. I just don't get it. Now, Edna Karr has proven themselves. Now, I'm gonna tell you one thing: would Karr murder St. Charles Catholic? Let me tell you something right now.
Say what to get to St. Charles Catholic. Save it.
I'm gonna say, okay, I'll save it.
Stay on Karr. I'm gonna have your whole say.
I got you, my friend. But Edna Karr has shown and sent a serious statement that they are one of the best teams in the state. But here's the thing about Edna Karr. They can keep the momentum going coming up Saturday against St. Augustine. The biggest thing when you look at it, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Edna Karr, Mighty, looking great. The receiving core is awesome. Defensive line is awesome. But you look at the resume, first big win for Karr.
Yeah, DJ. Action.
Let's be real. First big win for Karr this year. Come on, bro. Let's be real. Landry is in shambles. Scotlandville's in shambles. That's what you do against teams like that. You lay them to waste. But when it came down to the big test, a lot of credit goes to Karr. They showed why they're one of the best teams. They handled their business. And I'm like this. I think that's the best. I just seen this comment popped up. Okay. I like that. But they said the Chase Barrow, he says if St. Aug don't turn over the ball, they could win. It's interesting because I ain't gonna lie, St. Aug was in the red zone 4 times. So we'll talk about that in a second.
Mm-hmm.
But Edna Carr and Bryce Brown, they are really handling things. I don't know when Easton is gonna break the string. It's gonna come, but we don't know when. I like I said, I always have love and respect for Jared Phillips, man, but I got no words, no excuses. Karr is just that team, and it's, to be honest, it's a cross the street thing. It's a cross the street kind of series, but right now it's not a rivalry.
No,
it's really not a rivalry. It's not. You know, you love it when games are close, but this last 2 years have not been close. Not been close.
Not at all.
This year, I think this year was worse of a loss for Easton this year than last year. And the reason why,
you think this one was worse than last year?
Yes.
Worse than a 27-20 loss?
Yes. They had 4 people injured last season for Easton. You have a complete, healthy team.
0-12, Kenny.
0-12
counting the playoffs and the state championship games. Go ahead, VK.
They got dominated with everyone healthy. That's a huge difference. When Jared Johnson and other defensive players are out last season, you can see the injury. Besides Karr outplaying Easton, the injuries was critical because you can see without Jared Johnson, you had nobody making stops. Nobody else can lead. It was a difference when he came back, and the other couple of defensive players that were hurt came back. It was a huge difference because Easton got on the roll until they got to Karen Crow.
Westgate.
But now you got everybody healthy. You got a team, a lot of depth, loaded to bear. But when it comes down to it, and Foster Wallace.
Wallace Foster.
I'm sorry. Wallace Foster.
Yeah, Wallace Foster.
My friend. And I seen the highlights on Josh Preston does a great job. He's really up in this game with his highlights. You have no business saying a god doggone word to the people.
We said that earlier.
You
like
have no.
You haven't won a game. 11 games you lost to them, and you talking to them. I know you talk trash, but that's the wrong team to talk trash to.
There's some people I think Kevin Hart said it best. There's some people that deserve a whole lot of leave alone, and Karr is the one that deserves a whole lot of leave alone. Trust me on that. He shouldn't have said a thing, knowing especially what he's been through. A lot of times, I understand he's been hurt and everything else. He's coming back. For Wallace Foster, he should be humble and don't say a thing to get himself back up. Especially the times when he got a little burned. You need to think about it and be like, maybe I need to scale back on my talking. Maybe I need to be quiet a little bit. Maybe I need to work on my stuff because people are going to come at my head. And that's what they're doing right now. Nobody from Karr shouldn't have said anything at all. Period. Anybody from Easton should have said nothing to Karr, period, at all. Should be focused, ready to roll. I like Jerry Phillips' message before the game. I get it. But, you know, it just Nicole they still showing that they are that team. They are that dude. They're that dude over there. And they showing no fear, and they sent a message to the city, to the state, and to the Catholic League that they are one of the teams to beat.
PK, my
Okay.
question to you about this game: what does Warren Easton have to play for now? Because it seemed like this was their game. You know, the Karr game. This was the year. This was going to be the one. This was going to be the year they were going to finally exercise the demon. They failed miserably. What do they have to play for? Now, you could tell me the getaway answer is the district championship, but okay, where's the reward? Where's the reward? Because they're not going to the playoffs. So, what in your mind, if you're Warren Easton, I get playing for the name on the front of the jersey and playing for school pride and everything else. Understood. But big picture, what are they playing for?
Well, I'm gonna tell you, and before I answer that, New Orleans Dow, I know he talks trash, but I'm the type of person I believe in. Let your game do the talking. Let your game do the talking instead of talking trash.
It's part of the game, but like I said, I think.
It is. It
But them
is.
talking to them, that's the wrong team when you lost 11 straight
Right.
times.
It is. It is part of it, but sometimes I love it when other teams go off on that person who talk and be like, see that right there? That shows you what? Let your game do the talking.
Karr was laughing at him when he was talking trash to him. They were laughing. You saw the video on Josh Preston?
Yes.
They were just laughing.
Because they know we gonna let our game do the talking and he ain't gonna say nothing. And that's just what it is. That's exactly what it is. But to answer your question, George, on that one for Warren Easton, and I'm gonna be real with you. Yeah. Here's the one thing they gotta play for, and then just for pride, for them seniors. If you want to have a chance to go to the next level, you go all out.
Good point. Good point.
You go all out. I don't care if you don't play in the playoffs or not. You need to show them coaches, the next level college coaches, that I'm coachable and I'm ready to play for anybody. I can play for you, I can play for you, I can play for you, regardless. And the thing is, they do that, they're gonna show a lot of character. Them coaches are gonna be like, oh, these people can't even go to postseason, but they showed a lot of character and continue to play. I like that. I want to take him. I'll tell you, if they play with a lot of pride, especially those seniors, don't be surprised signing day. They're gonna have a lot of doggone signees from Easton if they continue to play. And the key is continue to play. And that's what they got on the line to play for, George.
What are your thoughts about the game you covered Friday night? St. Charles Catholic and Turley's Catholic.
St. Charles Catholic was outstanding. Outstanding ball game. Was close early, but the defense set the tone in the second half, and the offense just really had over 400 yards of offense. Brady St. Pierre threw the ball very well, almost 200 yards of passing. Jeremiah Wills went on over 149 yards, rushing 2 touchdowns. They looked really good. Now I'm gonna say this to y'all, and I understand you disagree. I'm gonna say this. I'm not gonna say that. I'm like this. St. Charles, they're one of the best teams in the state. They're one of the best teams in the state. Now, when you said Lafayette Christian, I'm going to agree with you. Lafayette Christian, to me, is the best team in the state of Louisiana. Edna Karr can be right behind them, but I'm going with St. Charles right behind them because look at the resume. I believe in resume, okay? Now, Edna Karr and St. Charles, the matchup would favor Karr. I would definitely say that, but St. Charles would give them a game. And you know why? Go back and look at their resume in the last 15 years of who they beaten. And we talking about not just small schools. We talking about 4 and 5A schools they have beaten. You think Wayne Stein is about to lay down with this team? No. They are going to fight you, and they will fight you to the end. It would be a game. Karl would be like, hey, Karl pull away in the fourth quarter. but they know they're in for a fight when you take on them boys out there in Laplace. I'm just being real with you. Now, you said the Lafayette Christian was a couple years ago, George. Jawan Johnson was a sophomore, and that team was loaded to bed in. Nobody thought Lafayette Christian was. Nobody thought St. Charles was gonna pull it off. I was the only one out of all the reporters that said St. Charles has a shot. I was the only one. Now, I'm just saying, I give Karr the edge because of talent-wise, but St. Charles will give them a fight. It'll be at least 3.5 quarters to the fourth. Karr pull away and win. Just saying, bro, because I'm like this, man. I believe in good coaching. I believe in a lot of heart. So just saying, man, you know what I'm saying? No disrespect. That's why I respect Edna Karr. I'm like this, DJ. Let me tell you, you need to go back. I don't know if I still have it. I wish I had those Bell Chase play-by-play I used to do for Bell Chase High School. I'm gonna tell you, there was a couple times I sounded like Jim Ross a little bit with a couple of those calls. Jim
George
Ross.
Peppers, what is your response to VK's statement that he will have St. Charles Catholic second behind LCA but above Edna Karr?
Foolery.
Oh,
Foolery.
How is foolery?
First of all, okay, I'm going to explain how. Allow me this forum, sir.
Go ahead.
All right, thank you. How will St. Charles back markers cover Carr's receivers? That's what I want to know. And if the Carr offensive line, oh, by the way, which would outside St. Charles's defense, wins the line of scrimmage, tell me where the Comets make a difference. Look, the Comets have a great defense. We saw that Friday night. But that was a Turling's offense that could score. They were able to disrupt Preston Welch. And Preston's a very good quarterback. Let's not fool ourselves. That dude can play. Friday night changes nothing for me. But Edna Karr in a hypothetical matchup would win by 3 touchdowns, and it wouldn't even feel close. I just look. Much love to Wayne Stein and St. Charles. And look, we thank, first of all, before we continue, thank them for allowing us the opportunity to do that game Friday night. The atmosphere, Jared, was electric. Jambalaya was pretty good too. I mean, just saying, we both partook in it. And the hospitality, and I tell you, we ran into the guys that do the Turlings games because they came to the press box. And we talked before the game, we hashed it out a little bit. There you go, using the surname of the show. Those guys, Kayvon Bergeron and his color analyst, I forget his name. Those guys were straight class VK. Those guys were really, really cool to us. They acknowledged us. They gave us much respect. And then to the St. Charles people, they plugged our show and plugged us. And man, that was a proud moment. That Friday night. And obviously that's not the only time that's going to happen. We're going to make this happen. Schedule it next season. You know what? There's a new 2-year schedule. I don't think Wayne Stein wants that matchup as much as I love Wayne Stein. I don't think St. Charles wants that game. They would get beat up physically. They would get beat up. I mean, and St. Charles is what it is. They are. See, look. Okay, Kenny, look, let me just say this. Coaching is coaching. Look, Wayne Stein, I will never say nothing bad about the man. I just said that. Dude's a great coach. He is upheld a legacy from Frank Monica. Frank was a legend. Wayne's already passed him in state championships. I get that. I just feel like if they lined up mano a mano against Edna Karr, they would get beat. Simple as that. It's all about talent. And St. Charles does more with less than any team in the state. They don't have D1 talent. They don't. There's not a dude on that roster I could say is a D1 player. There's a lot of good players, but it's just very well coached. Yeah, exactly. I mean, DJ, that makes sense. But Carr's got dudes that are D1 level talent. Can we agree to that?
No,
Carr's got D1 talent. But St. Charles doesn't. And I feel like, I've had my questions of Bryce Brown in some games. I mean, he's won a lot, there have been games where he's had issue adjusting a little bit to teams of equal talent. There's been issue. I just think that in a hypothetical matchup of these two, Carr wins by 3 touchdowns. That's just my opinion.
Let me go, VK. Let me go. I'll let you go.
I'll
let you go after me.
No problem.
So I'm not gonna say foolery, but I will strongly disagree. I got Carr 1. I got LCA 2. St. Charles Catholic is one of the best teams in the state, but when we talk about can they beat a Lafayette Christian right now? Can they beat a Edna Carr right now? Can they beat Warren Easton? Can they beat a Ruston? I cannot say yes to those answers. I can't. I just don't see it. And if I put them up against an LCA right now and an Edna Carr, it's too much talent around for them to cover. Too much. It's too many weapons. I don't see him sticking with it. Now, Wayne Stein will come up with a good plan, but it's not going to be enough against those teams, in my opinion. And that's not me trying to be disrespectful to St. Charles Catholic at all, because Wayne Stein, to me, is the best halftime adjuster in the game in the state, period. He outcoaches people come the second half. We've seen it many times. Lutcher last year, Lutcher this year, Archbishop Shaw this year, the state championship game against Dunham. He outcoaches people. He does. But in this situation against these teams I just named, I just don't see it, VK. I don't. I just don't see it.
Now I'm gonna say this, Carr, it will be tough. Lafayette Christian, they will have a shot. You know why? Battle tested, and they beat them before. The same senior class. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Think about this. Same senior class beat that team 2 years ago in Jawan Johnson.
I understand that. I do.
All I'm gonna tell you is this. I believe in battle tested. You look at their schedule. The reason why I put them over Carr. Carr has one big win out the 3. One. St. Charles have 3 big wins.
They do.
Turlins, who made the semis.
Yes.
You got Lutcher, defending state champion.
Correct.
In the last 2 straight years. And you win at Shaw, who just came off of a program win.
That is correct.
You cannot tell me. I'm saying, don't disrespect the Edna Carr. Now, you look at the matchup hypothetically, Carr will have the edge. Lafayette Christian have a little bit of an edge, but I would give St. Charles a shot because the fact of the matter is these people didn't play them before. They have the experience before. So it means a lot. I'm like this. It's better than a team that have not played them before, who have no experience, than a team that's been there. And that's just facts.
I wanna go back to your resumes right quick. Resumes are nice, yes. It plays a part into the power rankings and strength of schedule. It does. It surely does. But when I look at who Warren Easton beat, and Edna Carr just demolished Warren Easton by 35, that says a whole lot when everyone was saying Warren Easton was the best team in the state. That says a lot right there.
I'm gonna tell you this, man. What you're saying is true. What you're saying is absolutely true. I'm not discrediting that at all. What Carr did was huge to that. Warren Easton was the best team in the state. Right now, they didn't take it down a bit after losing the Carr. Carr did make a statement. I'm just saying, still, that's a huge win for Carr. But their first big win on the schedule. If St. Aug would have beat Zachary last week, that would have been St. Aug's first big win on their schedule.
Agreed.
You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
let's keep it a buck. I'm just giving perspective. It's just a fact of the matter is Carr is scary, a scary team. And I'm like this. I said it earlier. I give them a lot of respect. That St. Aug game is gonna be really tough. Purple Knights got to get over a hump more than anything else. If they're going to get themselves back in contention for a chance to win the Caddy League or have a chance at state. This game it's now more do or die than anything else for the Purple Knights this weekend, which I'll be
GP,
calling on Saturday.
GP, you got a last word on the subject of St. Charles being the best team in the state?
I mean, I said what I've had to say. And look, Warren Easton 2 weeks ago dropped almost a half a hundred at Baton Rouge Catholic and couldn't do nothing with Carr. That's to your point, Jared. That Carr, I think, outdoes what they have to do and win the game. But so, I mean, I know we'll pick this game tomorrow night. It's going to be one of the games we're going to pick. St. Augustine Carr. I have
And
a feeling this
I can't
game.
I can't pick that game because I'm calling the game
Well,
Saturday.
you won't.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool.
That's
Me and Georgia
fine.
pick it,
I
but we don't
I
count it
can.
towards the
Right,
standings. We do that.
right, right.
Okay, we
Exactly.
do
We
that.
can do that. But that's pretty much the long and the short of it about this discussion. Just I'm going to stand by. Look, we agree to disagree at the end of the day. But
Right.
again, this is no knock on Wayne Stein. Everything that Jared and I are saying, it's not to be critical of St. Charles. Look, I got the maddest love for that dude
Yes.
and that program. They do things the right way. That program is run right. Your kids are respectful. Their kids are respectful, and their alumni. They were so welcome to us, man. I mean, they were so good to us Friday night. You know, step your game up to the rest of the teams that we go to, the rest of the stadiums we go to. Step your game up. St. Charles right now is the leader in the clubhouse, but nothing against anybody. But they were great.
All right. Now, last topic of the night. Not St. Charles, excuse me. St. Augustine went to Zachary, and we all agreed that would be a tough game for both teams.
Hmm.
Zachary came out on top 17-7, but St. Aug got to their red zone 4 times and did not score. First thing come to mind is, did they even attempt field goals? That's the first thing.
They got a good
Two,
kicker.
I don't know if they got one or not. I really don't know. I think they got
They
a
got
decent kicker.
they got a decent kicker.
Yeah,
They
I
do.
thought so.
They do. They got a decent kicker, but I think they might have did try a field goal, might have missed, and didn't go back to it. It just depends on how the kicker goes. But continue.
Yeah, you can't win games not scoring in the red zone. You're
Oh,
not going to be in ball games. And come this Saturday night, if you're in the red zone, you got to put points on that in the car. Period. GP.
agree. And I don't think Zachary's that good. I mean, yeah, they won, but they were a sitting duck 4 times in the red zone. St. Aug had them on their heels, but they didn't close. They better close Saturday night, St. Augustine. They better. It's as simple as that. Because if they don't, that 48 minutes is going to feel like 48 hours against that in the car. You better, St. Augustine, bring your game. Nick Foster, Dawson Simmons. I look. I don't know what happened Friday night. I mean, but the 4 trips to the red zone and getting goose egg. That's inexcusable. That's just inexcusable. You don't score a point in 4 trips to the red zone. I mean, St. Aug, elevate your game. I know you're way better than what you showed Friday night, and I saw, there's some snickering about, well, maybe they're not that good because they waxed 2 teams early in the season, 35 and Landry. Look, that Zachary game, how hard is it to beat the same team twice at their place? Answer that question. It's difficult, extremely difficult. But what I came away from that game, I don't think Zachary is that juggernaut that they were a couple of years ago. I think they're still good, but I'm not sure that they're that juggernaut team. I don't see it. I think St. Aug had a golden opportunity to slip through their fingers, and they better be able to execute on Saturday night if they're going to have a chance to win that game and pull off a Titanic win.
Go ahead, VK.
Well, Purple Knights had a big time test and failed. They had a big time test and failed. Now they got to really get themselves back up again and prove that they're worthy, that they belong, and everything else. Saturday is definitely do or die for the Purple Knights if they're going to show if they're a state contender or not, because Edna Carr is coming. Edna Carr is just getting better by the minute, And for the Purple Knights, do they have a shot? They have a shot, but they're gonna have to really step their game up. They're gonna have to cut down on the turnovers. They're gonna have to protect Dawson Simmons and protect him really hard because there's a lot of pressure he got that Friday night. So that offensive line's got to do better, and the defense has really got to step up and just make plays and stuff and try to stop and slow down John Johnson. That secondary is going to come up big, especially against that receiving core.
What's happening?
Probably the best receiving core in the state, in my opinion. Yeah, Edmund Carr Cougar's receiving core is unreal. So Purple Knights is going to really have to step up. They're going to have to put pressure on John Johnson. They're going to have to put pressure on him, force him to do things he don't want to do, and just make some stops. If St. Aug can do that, and the offense can get some points on the board, then to me, I think the Purple Knights going to have to use that running game of Moses Gray Jr. And they're going to have to use him a lot because I think they're going to have to play keep away against Edna Carr.
Tell you what, both teams got size on the O-line and the D-line, but I'm intrigued to see these two sophomores that both play defensive line. St. Aug, Jakeem Stewart, who is the number 2 ranked player for the class of 2027, but also defensive lineman Richard Anderson for Edna Carr. Both wear number 90. I'm looking forward to seeing those two hit the field. It's going to be something. But other than that, before we go, my man VK Jones, he had to do a speaking engagement at St. Charles Catholic today. How did that go, buddy?
Everything went pretty good, man. I had a fun time. Coach Wayne Stein, his staff, and a lot of the Comet faithful. It was really fun, man. And, they had some pastelaria and stuff like that. My mom had pastelaria for the first time. She enjoyed it. My daughter was with us. It was a really good fellowship with all those people. The speech went pretty good. Saying not without a hitch, but it was really interesting to meet those people. Shook a lot of hands. I know Mr. Kenneth Hall said hello. He's gonna get with you soon. I might need you to do me a favor.
He called me.
Okay.
He called me and he told me that he ran into you. He called me.
Hey, send him your email address because he needs to send a piece of video he got from the speech. All
right, I got you. Cool.
Yeah. So, but meeting a whole lot of people, the parents and the people, and also I met the parents of the person who's the stadium named after, Thomas Dupuis. He was a former St. Charles player who was trying to become a coach, and he had MDA, muscular dystrophy, and he passed away from that. So I met Mr. Thomas Dupuis' parents tonight, who will be at the quarterback club, and it was an honor to meet them, and they was very gracious of my presence and everything. And a lot of the community was like, we appreciate Hashtag Show, we appreciate VK and everything. And they was curious, like, how, I guess you and Coach is pretty tight. I was like, I had to tell them the story about me and Coach Monica and everything, man, but they was like, a lot of good laughs, a lot of good things tonight. They had a little something I'm not going to mention on the show, but at the same time, it was a real good night to be there. And I told those people, I said the Hashtag Show will be out there once again soon. So we definitely appreciate everything. It was very, very well out there.
Most definitely. So this Friday night, game of the week, John F. Kennedy Cougars against the Carver Rams. That is the Hashtag Show game of the week. VK and George Peppers will have the call this Friday night.
Tomorrow, you not coming with us?
No, not this one.
Man.
But there is an opening for week 9.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
I'll tell you about it after we get off.
Okay, cool.
All right. Man, tomorrow night, we will have Coach Lou Valden, the former head coach of the Hornville Tigers. He is going to join us on the show tomorrow night to talk about the Hornville-Destrehan rivalry, the battle on the river in St. Charles Parish. He is the last head coach to lead the Hornville Tigers to a state championship in the year 2000. Help me out, VK. Help me out.
2003,
I
I
want to say
believe.
3. Yeah, 2003. That's exactly what I want to say. 2003. Yep, 2003. So he's going to join us. Going to talk about all that good stuff. Other than that, we're here tomorrow, 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock, we're going to do our picks first. 9 o'clock, Coach Lou Valden will join us. So picks first this time. Lou Valden at 9 o'clock. BK got the fingers up. What you got?
See that?
Before, no, but this is important. Before we close it out, we like to give our condolences and prayers to the St. Helena community. I don't know if you know about this, Jared,
I know.
or you,
Yes,
George.
sir.
They had the shooting about a week and a half ago of Vernon VJ Gordon Jr. And there was a shooting that happened. I think it was happened right after school, and I think it was actually the same day me and Jared had that interview. It happened that Thursday. So, prayers go out to the St. Helena community and also for Coach Henry Singleton, who's an assistant coach over there.
Yeah.
And part of the FAMU family. But I know they're going through it a lot. So prayers going out to the family of Vernon VJ Gordon Jr. and the St. Helena family. Our prayers go out to them. The funeral will be this Saturday. And also a special shout out to the family of Buddy Tevens. He passed away tonight of a bike accident.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
And the head coach is still the head coach at Dartmouth. He was still coaching them.
Yep. He died from injuries of a bike accident.
Oh my God! I did not know this.
Yeah, this came out an hour ago.
Yeah, hour ago.
Oh wow!
Yep.
But also, if you guys, I want to say one thing. Our best wishes, and look, we're big fans of football, sports. Period. It's why we do what we do. But last night, we saw a revolting and just disturbing scene in Pittsburgh last night. Nick Chubb. I don't know if y'all know the specifics of the injury. He tore the LCL, the MCL, the PCL, and the ACL, and he also has arterial damage, artery damage. There's a chance that he may lose his leg. And I want to send out our best wishes to him, to the Cleveland Browns, and everyone involved. Nick plays the game the right way. He's a throwback player. His interviews, I mean, he's all class. Our thoughts and our best wishes go out to Nick Chubb as well, because that last night, we've seen injuries in sports, guys, but just I don't know. I think this one hit a little bit different.
It did, because of the fact of the matter is, and I just was thinking about him yesterday because of the fact that it's been a while since that knee injury he had his junior year at Georgia. And for him to I think this was year number 7 in the league. So I'm thinking like, man, Chubb doing really good. He's staying healthy. And all of a sudden, I think it's the same knee.
It's the same knee.
Like, oh my Lord, you got it. I didn't know about this till I seen a little bit of second hand. I said, Nick Chubb. I'm like, wait. I said, you serious? And I looked at the replay and I was like, no, dog. You gotta be serious.
Gruesome.
Yeah, very
gruesome.
Oh,
very gruesome.
No. And my prayers go out to him and his family.
Definitely.
I'm just stunned because I still remember that injury at Georgia to this day.
Yeah.
And I didn't think he would be coming back, but he came back hard. But right.
Yep. Our prayers with those families and everything like that. Speedy recovery.
Yes. I think we'll talk more tomorrow about, besides our picks, we gotta break down a little bit of the local weekend as Saints Tulane LSU. So we gotta really break that down a little bit tomorrow. So, and also the Southern Jays getting the win. So we gotta get some breakdowns tomorrow before we get to the picks and whatever. So, but that's before we get to our rivalry talk.
Let's see how long we got with Lou Valden. If we got time for Lou Valden, then bam, we'll do it. Definitely.
Absolutely.
High school picks first, Lou at 9. If we do the high school picks first and we got time, I'll throw something in there. Boom. Then go to Lou, finish Lou, bam, finish with everything else.
Awesome.
Cool.
Awesome.
All right,
show, baby.
Thank y'all for tuning in with us. Tune back in tomorrow, 8 o'clock p.m. We'll be here. VK Jones, with George Peppers. I'm JB, your sports guy. Y'all take care. The Hash It Out Show is brought to you by Barretto Home Solutions, Bayou Audio and Video, Hot Works on the North Shore, JFK Martial Arts in Mandeville and Covington, Black Hawk Hauling, Lil Dizzy's Cafe, Wags Food and Culture, Moe's Pizza, The Green Law Firm, personal injury attorney, Drums Earwear.
Sanders said, "Look good, play good." You feel me?
But what's on with that
Jay
shot?
Dillon, what's happening, big brother?
What's on with that game today?
What y'all game?
Yeah.
You need to tell me what's happening. You tell me what you told me last night.
It's not even gonna be close. Like I don't even know why people be hyping the game up, because like it's not gonna be no real good game for y'all to watch. It's really gonna be boring. Really finna go on 20 years with this. Like this ain't just started. Like this finna be a 20-year thing.
Hey, I like
And this is a week. Like, come on now. Like you can't give it up when you about to make 20 years. Like
I'm just able to
losing in the
we don't
eyeball.
got school today, man.
When we talk about football, they got standards. I standard up here, like with everything. With us and during school, with us during everything, they don't have a standard like that. And we won't keep that because our coach Monica, he told us he wanted us to take one game at a time. But this game has always been a personal game for him, because every year it's not about. There's always something. Hash it out. So you know, I see that he got faith in his guys, but his guys ain't messing with guys in that memory. Sorry, they just not.
I love it.
Hands up, hands up, hands up. If you winning and you don't give a fuck about a hater, tell them move. Clear my area, move. Clear my area, move. Clear my area, move. Clear my area. 'Cause I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning.